very enlightening experience.
Alright, so I gotta start from the flight because Turkish Airlines had me in these tiny, tight seats, like knees to chest tight. I was twisted up like a pretzel for hours. I mean, the service was cool, food was decent, but those seats, they were trash. Never again in economy on that long of a flight. When that plane finally touched down in Joburg, man, that feeling was amazing. Just knowing I was finally in Africa, in South Africa, was crazy. Like I had this calm that hit me, but also this deep connection. I can't even fully explain it. It just felt right. We kicked things off in Sandton, and Sandton's different. It's like the flex zone, real clean, high-rise buildings, luxury malls, the whole nine. You can feel the money in the air. This ain't what they show you when they talk about Africa. Checked into the Protea Hotel by Marriott, right in the middle of Sandton. It had everything we needed. The room was nice, the vibe was chill, it's walking distance to the food spots and malls, which was key. First stop for food, the Bull Run. It's literally downstairs from the hotel. If you're into steak, this is the move. South African beef, different. Though this specific time, I only got a salad because I was trying to keep it light after the flight. Right up the block is Nelson Mandela Square, a big statue of Madiba, aka Mandela, standing tall right in the middle of all these restaurants and shops. It's dope seeing how his presence still holds weight everywhere you go here. Later that night, we headed to Saint Restaurant. This place is a vibe. The design, the lighting, the crowd, the drinks, straight fire. Food was good too. Kinda Italian with a South African twist. Perfect first night out in Joburg. And did I mention the South African beef? The steak was hidden. The next day, we jumped on that hop-on, hop-off bus. It's one of those open-top, double-decker buses, so you really get to see the whole city. You ride through all the neighborhoods. Some spots got that old-school charm, others feel super modern. Johannesburg got layers. One minute you're looking at street art and markets, next minute you're in the middle of a business district with skyscrapers. It's loud, fast, real, and I loved it. We spent time downtown too, super active down there, taxis weaving through traffic, vendors on every corner, and street murals that'll stop you in your tracks. It's gritty, but there's so much soul. I even got to stop along the street to talk to a local artist, and I ended up purchasing his crown jewel piece that he didn't even have for sale. We had to do some negotiating with him to convince him to sell it, but ultimately he let me purchase it. It's hands down my favorite art piece now. Later that night, we hopped in an Uber and we pulled up to Marble Restaurant. Rooftop views, fire grilled, everything. Literally, they cooked everything over a flame. Their drinks were top tier, the food was solid, but that view over the city, that was the star of the show. Now this next part, this was heavy. We took a guided tour of Constitution Hill, which used to be a prison, a really brutal one. Mandela was actually locked up here before being sent to Robben Island. So was Gandhi, and yeah, that Gandhi. The place was rough. They packed people in tiny cells, barely gave them food, and stripped them of every bit of dignity. What's wild is how much of this was kept secret during apartheid.
It's dark, and it's full, and it's smelly. There were no toilets, prisoners were using buckets. And there were fights when it's time to empty the buckets. So that is why the gang leaders who were controlling the prisoners here, they will choose vulnerable prisoners to go and empty the buckets. That says everyone is equal before the law and has the right to equal protection and benefits of the law.
But now, that same space is home to South Africa's Constitutional Court, literally built with bricks from the old prison. It's symbolic, right? Taking a place that once crushed human rights and turning it into a court that protects them. They've got the flame of democracy burning outside, and inside you'll see 11 judge chairs, all designed to sit lower than the public benches. So it's like justice serves the people, not the other way around.
So we just finished here at Constitutional Hill, and very enlightening experience. We got to take a look inside some old jails, and that was pretty moving. Yeah, so next we move on to our next adventure.
And then there's the cell, Mandela's actual cell. A few years back, he came back to visit it, and I got to stand in that same exact spot.
Mandela. This is the picture of Nelson Mandela. Here in 1958, Nelson Mandela was here representing these 2,000 women and young boys. They were protesting against the pass law system. They wanted their husbands to come and work in the cities without being harassed about the pass law system. It was taken of him standing right at this door right here. So from here you make
Man, that moment hit me. To think of everything he endured and still came out full of peace and leadership is pretty humbling.
It has the power to unite people in a way that little else does. It speaks to youth in a language they understand.
After that, we headed to Soweto, short for Southwestern Townships. It's one of the most important places in South African history. It's where the resistance movement really lived, where people stood up and said no more. We stopped for lunch at Sakumzi restaurant, which sits right on Valakazi Street, the only street in the world that's been home to 2 Nobel Peace Prize winners, Nelson Mandela and Desmond Tutu. While we were eating, street performers pulled up and started dancing right outside the door. That's Soweto for you. It's full of life. Then we walked just a few feet over to Mandela House. This is where Nelson Mandela lived before and after his imprisonment. It's not a mansion, it's a very small, modest home, but the history packed into those 4 rooms is unreal. You'll see his old boxing gloves, family photos, honorary degrees, and there are still bullet holes in the walls. Winnie Mandela kept this house going while he was locked up for 27 years. And when he got out, he came back here first before even going public. He called it the House of the People, and you can feel that. It wasn't about flash, it was about purpose. Outside Mandela House, our guide told us about the 1976 student protest. Kids were marching peacefully when the police opened fire. One of those kids was Hector Peterson, only 12 years old. The photo of him being carried away became iconic. There's a memorial now in his name, and it reminds you how young and how brave the freedom fighters were. Before we left Soweto, we stopped by FNB Stadium, aka Soccer City. It's the largest stadium in Africa and hosted the 2010 World Cup final.
It's stabbed away uncomfortably to Fabregas. Surely now!
But even more meaningful, this is where Mandela gave one of his final speeches to the public. Next up was the Apartheid Museum. And listen, this place is different. Before you even get inside, you're randomly assigned a ticket labeled either white or non-white, just like people were classified under apartheid. And based on your ticket, you have to enter through completely different doors. That moment alone sets the tone. It's not just a museum, it's an experience. Walking through the halls, you're surrounded by stories, photos, real-life artifacts, and haunting footage. You feel the weight of it. You see families ripped apart, people arrested for simply being in the wrong place. The passbooks they were forced to carry, it's heavy. And for me, as a Black American, I couldn't help but feel a deep connection. The exhibits reminded me so much of the National Civil Rights Museum in Memphis or the Legacy Museum in Montgomery. The parallels between apartheid in South Africa and the Jim Crow era in the US are undeniable. Separate benches, segregated schools, controlled movement, police brutality is all there. The systems may have looked different, but the oppression felt painfully familiar. At one point, I just had to stop and breathe. It was like I was seeing our history reflected through a different lens on a different continent, but with the same fight for dignity and freedom, the same spirit. Just like the Civil Rights Movement had Dr. King, Malcolm, Rosa, and so many others, South Africa had Mandela, Steve Biko, Winnie Mandela, and thousands of everyday people who said enough. And just like in the US, it was the youth who stepped up, students who marched, mothers who resisted, artists, preachers, rebels, risking everything just to be treated like humans. The museum doesn't just show pain, it ends with hope. Messages of reconciliation, of democracy, of healing. It reminded me that we're all connected in this global fight for justice. Black history isn't just American or African, it's world history. It's our history. And to close it all out, we had dinner at Flames Restaurant at the Four Seasons Hotel in Westcliff. Let me just say this, if you ever want to end the trip on a high note, do it here. The food is top tier, but that sunset view over Johannesburg is unreal. And we did have to deal with a little bit of load shedding, the power going out during dinner. But of course, if you've ever been to South Africa, that doesn't stop any party. So dinner kept going, the staff kept going, the views were still beautiful. We still had an amazing time. This trip to Johannesburg was more than just a vacation. It was personal. I've been blessed to travel to a lot of places, but coming here to this city on this continent just felt different. Joburg wasn't just my first stop in South Africa. It was one of my first steps onto the African continent outside of Egypt. And I felt it. I felt it with the food, the energy, and the people. There was this connection, like I wasn't just visiting a place, I was reconnecting with something deeper, something ancestral, something spiritual.